But before we start the review, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment below and join the discussion. Also, don't forget to tune in for the Ukrainian Bloggers podcast, which happens every Monday and Thursday.
I took you in.
Yeah, I took you in. You ready? The brain just go crazy.
In the summer of July 2019, Dreamville decided to embark on a very ambitious journey and invite creatives into their studio and record an album that was supposed to be something that's, let's see what we can come up with in 10 days or less. Now, with that in mind, I'll be reviewing the album Return of the Dreamers 3. It's not going to be your conventional review in terms of I'm going to talk about the lyrical cadence of the album, all those things. It's not as if it was a conceptual album. It was mainly a creative piece. So in this review is going to be more of my favorite artist from it, the artist which I think was a top artist, the weakest artist, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned for that. Hello there, if you're new to this YouTube channel, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell notification to find out updates of all of our videos. We got new videos dropping very soon. I'll be doing a lot more commentary on the hip-hop scene, and we also do reviews as well, so you don't want to miss out on our latest and new content that we are pushing out. Now, for those that don't know me, my name is Cell, and I'm actually a DJ. I'm literally just getting started in this YouTube game. I want to impart my knowledge of hip-hop and also my views on certain albums and recommend them to you so that you can go listen for your listening pleasure. That's what CellReviews is about. So sit back, relax, and let's get on with the review. Today, Dreamville, Revenge of the Dreamers 3. This was a definite ambitious project from the Dreamville crew. There was a lot of surprise acts that I didn't really expect to be in the project. In fact, for today's climate, the only thing I can say about the album is that it is very surprising to many in today's climate, because a lot of people believe that artists nowadays, they cannot necessarily rap as those in the 90s. I beg to differ, especially that's what this album has kind of showed us, and that's what I believe Revenge of the Dreamers is about. They are out for revenge for the doubters that literally are trying to stand in the way of their dreams, trying to rule them out when they have a valid voice within hip-hop, and they basically made the point that there is no way in which you're gonna try and put us into a box, try and separate us from the root of hip-hop, like trying to pit us against the 90s heads, so to speak. Now, speaking of taking your craft very, very seriously, the artist in this that I didn't really expect to really showface was Smoke Purp. I mean, Smoke Purp being linked to Lil Pump a lot has really put me off as a DJ like who really values lyricism or anything like that. I don't regard anything of Lil Pump to be of lyrical quality, and because Smoke Purp was kind of linked with him, I wrote him off in terms of I don't think he's gonna have anything special to give us. So because of this, I didn't really consider what he has to say of any value. However, his appearance on this project and to actually see him give its best, because everyone in this project gave their best. So that's the context out of the way. So that's what I believe the overall theme of this was, if there was any kind of theme that stuck out. I think that really was that a lot of these artists that are featured in this, a lot of them are very, very new, very undiscovered, and they all have the lyrical talent to actually compete in today's climate. I believe it was a great call for J. Cole to give him that platform in which to get their message out. I was also very, very surprised and impressed and also ecstatic at the same time with the inclusion of Drizzy. She has impressed me ever since I first started listening. I think when she dropped the track Spar with XXXTentacion and Kodak Black, I pretty much always been following her and following her work. I've heard her latest album, which she released in February, which unfortunately I'm so bad with names, but I remember the release dates. Maybe it's because it's linked to numbers or whatever. But our project has always been has always impressed me, and and she is in her own lane, and I was extremely happy to find her on the Dreamville project. Apart from that, Ti was also a very good inclusion, because I always believe he's a dreamer that has always been underrated, in my honest opinion. He is one of the best from the South that a lot of people don't really tend to pay attention to or acknowledge. His lyricism is unmatched, in my honest opinion. I think he's better than what people give him credit for. He's very exceptional in my eyes. Speaking about artists, let's go on to the worst performers. Not necessarily the worst, let me not say it like that. Let's go on to the least performers that are signed to Dreamville. On this track, because every Dreamville artists had a chance to show their shine. I believe they all appeared in 3 tracks each. I believe, because they all had that equal footing, I think it's fair to rank it and say, okay, who's the best and who's not. The least performance that I didn't think, this is barring Ari Lennox, because I do understand that she is in a different field. So Ari Lennox is rightly not included in this, because she's not necessarily a rapper, if that makes sense. Okay, so the least performance, in my opinion, is Cozz. He's the lowest ranked, in my opinion. Not that he is a bad rapper, because he's really not. The project as a whole was a complete success to me. It was very lit. But it's just the fact that he was, compared to the other signees, he was very out of place, and I didn't really think he performed that well. Then we have Lute, who also followed Cozz. He was very good in the track Under the Sun, but again, I was expecting a little bit, like, he was still out of place compared to the rest. He was a little bit better than, because he had a little bit more creativity than him, if that makes sense. Then we have Omen, who I believe was the third worst, not third least performing artist. He actually put up a very good performance. I believe he has so much potential, in my opinion. Omen, like, I really loved his lyrical ability on his album. I really loved his flow on this album. I really think in Sleep Deprived and also PTSD, he really showed how versatile he could be. How versatile it could be in different types of theme tracks, if that makes sense, if I'm making any sense at all. I did really like how he handled those changes. Baz is the next one. Honestly, I really think that Baz is actually great. I actually think that he is top 3 if Jid, Joey Cole and Earthgang were not the competition he had. First album, Milky Way, which was my first album of hearing him. I personally was impressed with the entire piece of work. He is one of those artists that you like or you don't like. You understand what I mean? I tend to prefer Earthgang over Bars. I tend to prefer their content over Bars. So it wasn't necessarily an hate for Bars, or the fact that I don't actually rate him as an artist, because I actually do both. I don't hate him, and I actually do rate him highly as an artist. So number 3, Earthgang. That Earthgang is Earthgang. Like, I can't get over their piece on the album. It's easy to underrate them simply because of the fact that they're actually a group, but at the same time, they're actually a group, like a duo, so it's not, they can be shifted aside. But I do think that they have the best content going out there. My friend Theo, who does the Ukrainian Bloggers podcast with me, actually says that they are the new age Outcast, which I'm starting to agree. I'm starting to see what he's talking about, because what they have to bring to the table is very, very uniquely different. That has not been explored in hip hop for hasn't been let me not say explored. Let me say they haven't. No group has reached the heights of our cast apart from these guys. Like, these guys are very close to doing it. The which only leaves J. Cole and Jid. And in my opinion, J. Cole was the second best performer on this album. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with me. You can agree with me. But I just tend to think that J. Cole compared to Jid is Jid is just on another level. I watched Rate the Bars by, I believe it was by Rate the Bars by MTV, or believe, if I got that name wrong, I do apologize, but the program was called Rate the Bars, and literally Twista compares his rapping style to Jid's rapping style and say he does it with a lot more creativity, a lot of it. And for you to have Twista, who's pretty much the best fast rapper that's known in the game, compare his style, like, to me, it's something that you just can't ignore, because Jid on this album has been very, very consistent. He has played his role effortlessly. Damn Battle was probably his best show, and even with that being said, J. Cole brought his style as well. We know what J. Cole can do, but I personally think that Jid is the one that actually stole the show. In my opinion, he's the one that is the number one rapper in Dreamville. Now the album itself, I do give it an 86%. I do think that I'm not gonna compare it to the other Dreamville projects, because I just found out during this review that the other Dreamville projects actually exist. That Revenge of the Dreamers actually did exist back in 2014, and they were releasing albums from 2014 to 2015, I believe, or 2016, and now this is their third collaborative project. So I was extremely surprised by that. I did like the themes I did discuss in terms of self-love as well as love, and also just having fun and just really letting loose. I was actually very surprised by how free Buddy actually was on this album, because listening to his first studio album, his debut album, Alan and Alondria, it was okay, but I'd never seen him as free as he is. And I do understand they were encouraged to be creative, they were encouraged to be free thinking, but I would love to see this side of Buddy more going forward, because he does have bags and bags and bags of potential, and I do think that he struck a really good chord here, and I think he should carry that forward. Vince Staples, I love his lyrical ability, and I do hope that something can spawn from this. Apart from that, the album was I wouldn't go as far as call it a work of art. In terms of like really, really the best I've ever heard. That's not what I mean. I mean, it is good in its respect. Like, it is good for this time period. I wanna hear a more constructive, cohesive piece where a lot more themes can be hit cohesively, if that makes sense. I do think that it was quite disjointed at times. I would love it to see them go really conceptual with the amount of talents that they're trying to recruit. I really would love to see how that goes. How they can create a cohesive, conceptually driven album that retains a tone as they're bringing in new characters, something like the MCU, for example, but rather in the hip-hop verse, if that makes sense. Thank you so much for checking out this review. I'm curious to know your thoughts in the comment section below. You know what, there was a lot of hype around this album, which pretty much made it probably Dreamville's biggest release. In fact, it was peaking at number one upon release. There was so much hype about it, they even made a documentary of it, which I will actually provide a link at the in the bottom. I was looking through Wikipedia as well when I was doing my review, and a lot of people were actually invited for this session. I mean, we have people like Ski Master Slum God that was invited, Rick Ross was invited, Reason who appeared on the album was invited, Rhapsody was invited, Ashar Rashad, wow, K Camp, he was also invited, Ludacris, I would have loved to hear his album, he was invited, Then you have Big Cray. He was also invited. BJ, the Chicago Kid. I would have loved to hear these guys, especially Swift Beats. I would have loved to know how they use Swift Beats on this. Drizzy was also invited, which she was also used. You know what? Akon was also invited. This had potential. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to Revenge of the Dreamers 4 if they're gonna release it. Because just looking at the people that didn't make this album, I'm pretty sure they probably might make the next one. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. For those of you that may want to know upcoming releases from the Dreamville record, it's rumored to have like that Baz will release Spilled Milk Volume 1. That's rumored for August 9th. It's getting closer and closer, so it's possibly true. Then you have Earthgang with Mirrorland. Not really confirmed yet, so that could be the fall season or the winter season. Then you have J. Cole, the fall off and the off season, so this could be winter releases or a double disc joint release or a full album release, which is autumn time. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the review, and I'll see you on the next one, and do not stop dreaming.